Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Energetic Life Now show. I am your host, Eric Stenlake. It is an honor and privilege to see you guys today. Thanks for tuning in from wherever it is that you are. Just to let you know, our show today can be seen and heard on the Spanglish World and H.E.R networks on Zingo TV channels 250 and 251. And if you haven't yet downloaded the Zingo TV app, please do so on your respected devices and your app stores and iOS and Android devices. And when you do, we would really appreciate a like, a share, a comment. That would be fantastic. Zingo TV is also on Google Chromecast and, of course, the amazing Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Today, friends and family around the world, I am so excited to introduce to you my friend and colleague from very far away, but yet we're connected today. Everly, thank you so much for being here today on the show. I am so honored to have you here, and I can't wait for the listeners to understand where it is that you are tuning in from to be on this show. So with that being said, would you please give us your name, a little bit about you, where you're tuning in from, because I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, thank you, Eric, for having me and inviting me. I'm super excited to do this and get to chat with you. I am from this little country of 1.5 million people called Estonia in Europe. So just around the corner.
That's great. California and Estonia in the house representing today. Now, you might be asking, how in the world did you guys meet? Well, we are actually colleagues within the Neuroencoding Institute with Dr. Joseph McClendon III. And this is how we have come in contact with each other. And so thank you again so much for being on the show. Tell us a little bit about you, like what's going on in your world in Estonia, and a little bit about your background in history.
Where do I start? I'm a coach. Coach for high achievers and people who want to get the best out of themselves. And I'm excited to help people achieve the impossible, whatever that means for them. And the tools we use mostly are the tools we share from the Institute, right? And my background, why the high achievers? As they say, the best client is you a bit prior to the process. So my background is in mechanical engineering. That's where I started, became an engineer, then moved on to be a product development manager, then from there to oil and gas industries doing international sales. And I felt so miserable doing it all. Because my real love is for people and helping them get further faster in life. So just as life throws challenges our way and moves us towards what we really meant to do, that's what happened to me. So here I am, guiding people the best I can.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wow, what an amazing background. How extensive your background is. And I love how that you've taken your past experiences, learned from them, and now are into the space where you're helping others as a coach, because you understand what it takes to operate successfully in the spaces that you came from, and now you get to take that into that, and I love that. I mean, mechanical engineering. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like for you. Like that mechanical engineering, you could be talking in a whole nother language to me. So explain what your mechanical engineering is.
So I guess you can believe me when I say, when I go to people and say, like, by profession, by education, I'm a mechanical engineer, they're like, yeah, right. Like, doesn't fit really, right? Just honestly, I've gotten that feedback so much, but I've always been interested since I was a little girl how things work. And I've been fascinated with machines. So my studies were focused mostly on development and product development. So I've programmed robots, I've welded metal, I've poured liquid metal, I've like done all kinds of things. So mechanical engineering for me is creativity, basically.
Mm.
So I was deciding to go to art school or to go mechanical engineering, and inventing is such a form of art. When you think of Edison or Nikola Tesla or like all the great inventions around us.
Yeah.
So for me, it's engineering equals creativity.
Wow. That's great. And I love that, the engineering and the creativity and the building things, because I think that, as you know, it has probably led into why you're such a successful coach, is because that creativity of working with a client and helping them to, be successful and build upon where they are and how to get them to those next
Mm-hmm.
levels. That is a very creative space to be in. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally get you on that, because I love to do that. People that come and say, listen, I'm not fulfilled. I don't have joy. I'm lacking some things in my life. Like I don't know how to find that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when our brains just light up and go, boom,
Yeah.
activity. And then we get into and jump into that space. So,
And it's really enjoyable. Yeah. I can
it
see that
is.
from you as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you working with more of professional adults then, if you will? Is that the space that you
Yeah.
are in within your niche? That's great. And
Usually experts or company leaders
experts and
or
company leaders.
entrepreneurs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Got it. That's great. That's great. And how do people find you from around the world on social media? Do you have a website or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I do have a website with my name. Mostly my clients are by word of mouth until now. I've
Sure.
just started my social media and started building it. Everyone who feels resonance is welcome to have a discussion. I'm eager to help and guide people. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And by the way, I love your social media.
Thank you.
Your pages are fantastic, and I think they're great. She's on Facebook and Instagram. You can find her there, and they're lovely, lovely
Thank
pages.
you.
So when you finally or got to a place where you're like, I need something different, more or better in my life. Walk us through how you came to that realization. Like I'm in the engineering business, and how did you come to the realization of you wanted to become a coach?
Oh, this is a story in itself. So, my daughter, I have three kids. My oldest, my daughter is going to be 17 now. So when my daughter was about 2 years old, that was the first time I saw Tony's UPW recording.
Ah,
I was like, that's what I'm meant to do, like to help people via coaching and on stage, like motivating, inspiring.
mm,
And I was like, yeah, not possible, not gonna happen. Lovely thought though, right? So fast forward then 13 years, 12 years from that point, of course, tragedy entered my life. Uh, Lost loved ones and seeing them lose their life, not fulfilling their potential, the regrets they had at the end of their life, my mom being one of them.
mm,
And as I got really close at the final year of her life, I decided to go full in, transition completely, leave the corporate world behind. In that sense, what I knew, and make myself proud, not end up living in regret. Like Les Brown says, live full and die empty. I absolutely love that saying now. So that's what I'm going for. And I couldn't help my mom, the hero's complex as well, right?
mhm.
But I made a promise that I would, who's willing to accept the guidance, I would guide them and to achieve what's impossible for them, the way this seemed impossible for me 15 years ago. And here we are. So that's how I got here.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that story and the tragedy to triumph story that has unfolded out of that. And we we feel you and send our deepest condolences to you with your losses. And for everybody around the world that just connected with what you said, really on an emotional level, how often do we go through a tragedy in life of which we then say, I need to come out of this in a different place, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And there's got to be more for me because I'm not feeling fulfilled. And those moments that you had with Tony Robbins, and you're watching the recording of a UPW event, those are just amazing. I love those kinds of events myself, because it is so thought-provoking in here and in here that I find for me, I don't have a choice but to reflect and resonate on my why and what matters most to me. And that's when my creativity just begins to flow. And I come to these realizations and epiphanies of, wow, I would love to do this. I might not know yet how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to start. And so I know for me, that is how I got into this space of being a coach, because I came from the world of education and spent all of those years as a teacher and working with kids. And now to be in that space where I go to schools all over North America and coach and mentor teachers, and then be able to do that with parents and children in that same manner. I took what I was passionate about, like you, and then put it into a process of which I could lead and guide and serve others.
I'm curious. I've watched you've been doing this from 96, right? So you're pretty much a black belt, or like a triple black belt in coaching now, right? That's my conclusion. I'm gonna assume that I'm right. And I'm curious. I'm curious. Since you have this history, and now with the neuroencoding, what's like, you must, like, I've experienced the further faster, and I'm curious to, like, what's your takeaway? Like, what are the wows you've experienced thanks to that?
Well, the wows that I've experienced is right here. Because Dr. Joseph McClendon, he teaches us at the Neuroencoding Institute, physician, heal thyself. Exactly. If I want to be a leader with others and for others, I have to be able to do that myself. And so we get into this poem that we have, which we all love so much, which is, as I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have. And really, it's this process model of going into the exploration of understanding why I'm thinking and feeling a certain way, right? And how I make that connection and understanding with myself. And I always ask myself this question, not only of my clients, but for me as well, and I'm sure you do too, is what do I know to be true? And so if I'm thinking this way about a certain thing, which means I have a belief about it, what do I know to be true? And I challenge myself to really understand, is it really true, or are you just being a goofball? And it's not true, but my perception, my hallucination of that is true. And then it's like, no, that's not true, or yes, it is. So then I go into, well, okay, what do I need to do? Mm-hmm. And so if I do those things, am I going to have the result that I want? Am I going to get further faster in my life because I've made this connection of how I think and I feel? And so to bring that back to your question is I really truly feel that my awareness meter, if you will, had just picks up on things super quick. And you know, from as a coach, this is where we want our clients to be. This is where we want our clients to operate, in the speed of awareness and connection to what we're thinking and feeling, and asking ourselves, is it true? Why am I thinking or feeling this way? Because that is going to determine the action that I take.
Yeah, and that's like, to add to it, for me, it's the wow of how much you think this, you do this one time, or like, wow, but the layers, the depth it goes to, and the more you discover, and the masterfulness of it, or the mastery of it would be the correct way, right? So it's amazing. And one thing I'm gonna add is why I love the impossible. Because if we set a goal, we can imagine the steps there. But if I poke out the impossible from my client, it's a place they don't know how to get to. So it must become a place they come from as the person they would already be. So how would they then think? And they will become it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. And you know, a lot of people look at that word impossible and they want to push it aside like it's a bad word, right? Because it's impossible. Whereas I take that word impossible and I separate the I am, and it becomes I'm possible.
Yeah.
Now I begin to look and feel that I can do that. And I begin to look at it not as problem, but as, where is the solution? Where is the opportunity? What am I learning through this? And how is that going to help me grow? And so this is what we coach on in this process to help people become the best versions of themselves that they can be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So walk us through kind of, you know, what you're doing now as a coach. Like you've got clients, and kind of take us into a little bit of the behind the scenes as this amazing life coach that you are, and without saying who your clients are and what, but just how is it look? What does it look like for your clients to really begin to understand how to build success?
So they come to me, they have some level of success already. So there are curious patterns I notice. I'll get into that further along. And it's always like this way, I guess, that we get in our way. We get in our own way. And we ourselves are in the bottle, and we cannot read our label. The thing with high achievers and leaders is we're all human. It's all challenging. But for them, asking for help feels like I'm going to die. Yeah. Oh my, it might take a person might actually type in a request for help. I've had that, and wait for 40 minutes to push the send to ask for it, and then cry on the couch, and then everything will be fine. But that step in itself, and the world, they feel like they have many friends, but they feel so alone because everything's resting on their shoulders. And if they show weakness, everyone else is counting on them. So who can they really trust and talk to? So it's a quite heavy burden to bear. And they're really good at problem solving. And since they thrive on that achievement, they sometimes start creating the problems just to feel the achievement and solve them, and stay in this weird loop, and not really focusing on their impossible or the further goal. So all those things, we can't really see ourselves. We need someone to mirror back to us, or guide us, and have tools like the neuroencoding gives us, right? So one of my clients, successful, didn't take vacations, quite level of success, was the white knight in the company who always solved the problems, did everything, and didn't understand how he couldn't take a vacation, like didn't have time with the family to do his hobbies. The health was suffering, everything. We started with the stop technique. Like, we can explain that further along, but the stop technique, his business associates didn't recognize him afterwards. Like, his confidence went up, and during the span of a year, he took 3 months of vacation, 1 month being away on an island with a family, and ended up earning almost 100,000 more by doing less. And his health was like at his peak. So like, this stuff really works. All the processes, like what Joseph tells us, it's like, and for me, the amazement, and for the clients at first, since their intelligence, they're like, what do you do? Like, pat myself on the back. What? No, it releases dopamine. Really do it. Like, try it. Like, just, you don't need, like we've heard, like, you don't need to know how the electricity works to turn on the light, right? That saying. So, and when they start doing it, they start feeling better. Like, and as I think, so I feel, and then the do becomes a whole other level. And it's like, since they're already achieving high, the tweak they need is sometimes 1%. And the exponential what comes from that is like amazing.
Yeah.
So I've been rambling like.
No, this was great. I was so into it. That was an amazing explanation and story on that. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, I once we know better, we do better, and I think that's truly where we are in life. We go through the motions, like you're saying, and for this client, it was a badge of honor. Oh, I haven't taken a vacation in all these years because I'm working. And now, once they've changed their belief system about that they can, and the importance of taking care of self and spending time with their family, and now we see that huge jump in success for them. And I love how you were explaining that they're actually doing more in less amount of time because they've understood what they need to do to get there. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so great. What a great story of success for that client, and huge congratulations.
Thank you. I'm honored.
If you catch what she did, she talked about doing something in praise, which is what we do, is put your hands in the air, turn your palm around, face you, and pat yourself on the back, celebrate you, praise you, release that dopamine in your brain. Your brain just said, wait, what just happened? I just did something good. And so now I'm going to do and want to do more of that. So when your client's saying, I just did that, pat yourself on the back. A few minutes later, okay, I just was able to do that. I took the impossible and turned it into possibility, and I'm going to celebrate that. I'm learning how to do this. I'm going to celebrate that. And I know that sounds funny. People around the world, friends and family. That sounds funny to do that, but I guarantee you, if you start to do that after all the little things that you're doing throughout the course of your day, and the big things, the monumental things, you are going to feel so much better because you're in that space of celebration. Now, for me, when I was a little kid, my grandfather called me Champ. That was his nickname for me. And I can still hear him on the phone calling me, say, hey, Champ, how's it going? Oh, great, Grandpa, I'm doing this and doing that, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, oh, that's great, Champ. You're doing such a great job. He would totally boost me up and give me the accolades that I would get excited about wanting to do more. That was the dopamine release that's going on in the brain. And you're setting your client up for that in that same manner and teaching that. So awesome. Oh, I just love that. And guess what's coming next? You said it, the stop technique. We got to know more about that. What is the stop technique?
Oh, the stop technique is an amazing tool. Not only the high achievers, I help whoever comes along and I'm able to help. So I have a few clients. I'm going to get into what it is, but this lady was afraid to go to the forest, like so afraid. Stop technique, no problem, goes berry picking and mushroom picking in the forest now. Another lady was afraid to drive a car. So he lived in the suburbs. Husband worked abroad, so all the kids, she couldn't even go to the store.
Wow.
The stop technique, she drives to the town now. So, like we've been taught, it's used for phobias as well. It's amazing. The results are amazing. And as you said, heal thyself.
Mm-hmm.
I, at one point in my life, was afraid to open my mouth to a cashier when she stole money from me, even. Now, me being here speaking to you this way, this is like,
Wow.
doing a reel on like social media, just like, it's amazing. So the stop technique in itself is consists of different things
Mm-hmm.
done in certain order, but the main thing is our brain and the vagus nerve, the nerve and the, basically, I'm gonna not go so technical. Our mind and body interact with each other, and they have a chemical cocktail for our every state of feeling. And the way out of it is a sudden state in our body. So the stop technique begins with feel bad on purpose. Don't get stuck there, just get the feeling, jump up, shake your body out, and celebrate. Focus, come back, please. So, and yeah, pat yourself on the back, and we can stack the good feelings there, but that's a longer process, as you know.
That's great.
To fall back on in the worst situation to our best behavior automatically.
Yeah. So let me just get this right, and listeners, pay attention to this, because this is key. So you said we should try and feel bad on purpose. So, like, should I pull up a memory of the past, just something that worries me, concerns me, something that I feel bad about, like maybe something I've said or done? Is it an event? It's something that I feel bad about, right? It's
yeah, whatever you need to access that emotion that you don't want to experience. Yeah.
So I access that emotion, and then yeah, I feel the heaviness. I'm thinking about it. I feel the heaviness of that, because I know that was something I shouldn't have said or something I shouldn't have done. Right? That's life, right? That's why we're talking about that.
Yeah.
And then as I'm sitting, now I stand up, and then I put a big smile on my face. And why am I doing that? Why am I putting a big smile on my face?
There are so many muscles in our face, and our brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. And when we do this, the brain goes like, something good must be happening. I'm going to release all that happy sauce, those endorphins, dopamine, all that good stuff to push out the cortisol, the stress hormone in the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you break that pattern of the bad feeling. Yeah. With the smile.
So I want to feel good.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's it. So I'm feeling bad on purpose, and I'm thinking about that, and then boom, I jump up and a big smile on my face, even raising eyebrows, and I'm feeling good, and the cortisol is going away, and now I'm feeling good about it. And I'm like, okay, great. And then what do?
Take the hand. Take the hand. No, you don't go back. Don't go back.
Not yet. Celebrate.
Yeah. Celebrate.
I love
for breaking that bad feeling or the stuck state.
I love it. Now, do I do it again?
Absolutely. Do it for 10 days, 3 times a day.
3 times a day. 3 times
10
a day.
times in a row if you
Yeah, that's great. So I can do it more than one occasion. So I'm in that state. I'm feeling bad, and then I jump up and I'm feeling good, and then I am releasing those endorphins, get rid of that cortisol. I'm praising myself, patting myself on the back,
shake
and
that
then
ass.
Shake it.
Yeah.
I got a little delay here in my computer. Am I still good? You can see me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And so I might need to do that a few times. So go ahead and do that a few times, friends, if need be. And just so you know, I use this when I'm coaching with children. And so you're using it in the space of, executives and things of that nature. I'm using it in the space of kids, teens, and parents, and getting the families to do that. So if we have something that's going on within the families can do this together. The kids can do this. We do this, and I'm teaching this to teachers, and so they can do that in the classroom. The kids in the classroom, if they need to do that because they're feeling bad about that. I'm struggling with something in my life, and so we can go into that space. And like you said, when we do this consistently, it builds in that ability for us to really rewire our brain's thinking. Because before we were thinking on that negative and focusing on that negative, and we're feeling bad. How often does that like completely ruin your day? Because you're focusing on what went wrong, not what went right. And so now I love the words fear and fail. Because when we're looking at the word fail, we get so scared to fail without realizing fail really is a first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
And if I can focus on that, then I'm not scared to fail. And then that word fear goes into a place where I can either do one of two things. I can forget everything and run, which is fight or flight.
Love
right?
that.
Face everything and run, or I can face everything and rise. So now I look at that fear and I'm using it to my advantage because it's a first attempt in learning, and I'm going to face everything and rise. And if I can stay within that focus, I'm not worried about things not working out because I know that didn't work out. Okay, not a big deal. That's my emotional connection. Not a big deal. What do I need to do differently now? And I change that whole pattern and go back to the beginning. Okay, what is the outcome that I'm looking for? What do I want to have? Okay, great. Now I can go back and keep going around that cycle, if you will, until I get to that place where I am satisfied of what and where I am.
I love those acronyms. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it's going back to your example of that client. I would probably guess that he or she was so afraid to fail and had such a fear around it is why he never wanted to leave work, because if he left, something could go wrong. And all of that was sitting on his shoulders and weighing him down. So now when we're going into the stop technique, thinking about feeling bad, can you feel that weight on the shoulders? He could not. Once he released that, then he could stand up.
Rise.
A smile on his face. That was his rise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and I love the part that his like business partners and the business club other men like noticed it. Oh my God. And some said, I'm a bit intimidated by you now.
Yeah. And they're talking. What is this guy doing? What is he doing? How come he's doing all this? What's going on?
Yeah. Why so happy? What?
I love awesome. Yeah. I love it. And another thing you said that I want to circle back to, if I may, is that we have this maybe it's a stigma, if you will, that we get into adulthood, and if we look for support, a support structure, a support system, that's a sign of weakness. Especially from that place of being an executive. I see it in the parent world. I don't want to be vulnerable to admit that I'm not getting what I want out of life. And if I ask for help, I'm going to admit my weakness.
Yeah, I see the resonance. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, for you and I, we have this saying within the neuroencoding world, every coach needs a coach. I mean, how many coaches do we have? I mean,
I have 1.4 now, like 3. Yeah.
Joseph, Michael, the sisters.
Oh yeah.
Les Brown, Matthew Bennett. I mean, that's 6 right there that we have
those 2, yeah.
weekly connectivity to. So people out there, if you're listening to us and you're like, well, I don't know where to start. The start is to reach out to someone and say, I really could use some support. That doesn't admit, you're not admitting that you're wrong. You're not admitting that there's anything wrong. You're just saying, I could really use, some support and some guidance. So if you've got people like us who have 6 or 7 coaches for us, how much more important is that for you in your life?
And I loved how Les Brown put it, is like, you're not asking for help and admitting weakness. You're asking for help to continue being strong.
Oh.
Like, oh my, that man is just drops gold all the time. So
right? Is it? Yeah. It is. If you guys aren't familiar with Les Brown, go check him out on YouTube. Go watch his videos because he's absolutely amazing. Yeah. It's not an admittance of weakness, but a desire to keep building on strength. That just was
goosebumps. Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. So moving forward, tell us what your plans are as in your coaching world. Because for us, our learning doesn't stop. We in the neuroencoding, we are continuing to learn. And this is how we've been connected through the Institute. So tell us about kind of your forward future thinking. Where are you going?
So my impossible goal, of course, is to impact the world. And that's like, I'm building and learning with you, alongside you in the Institute, and as much as I can on my own as well, to be a speaker and an outstanding coach to leaders and high achievers who in themselves will have an impact on the world. So I can guide them, be support to them, so they can impact the world to be a better place. Wow. And since my background is in technology, so far it's been companies and people from tech world. Doesn't have to be that way, as long as the impossible is inspiring and with an ethical, good outcome. So it inspires me as well. So I'm moving towards that and having a bigger impact. And I really want to inspire people from the stage as well. So I'm building that.
That's amazing. So did you hear that, listeners? We've got a couple of options here. When you contact her, to understand, she will come into your organization physically. She will come into your organization over Zoom or social media, something of that nature. She will work with your top executives. She will work with your management leaders, anybody within your organization that needs and wants, where you guys are identifying, to close the gap, if you will, on some things within your organization, that is going to take your success and continue to build upon your success. So that is a reason right there, that if I was a business owner or I was on the executive team of the board and I happened to come across this show, I would be calling you and getting a hold of you to come in and work with our organization. Because what you have to offer is what people are needing around the world. And this just isn't in, Estonia, guys. This is global. I mean, I think our world is shrinking, if you will, technically, and our influence is expanding because we're able to do more within the world of technology. Which is really, really great, because it's bringing us closer together in ways that we probably haven't been before. I mean, this is great. I mean, here I am in California and you're in Estonia.
Yeah.
We're talking like we're in the same room. So, it's phenomenal. So I love that. What else do you want to, or can you share with us about your impact as a coach, tips and tools, or things that you've experienced along the way in your journey, that you are saying, you know what, I would love for the listeners around the world to really hear this?
Oh, well, I have a lot, so let me just refocus and think about the main, like, the shifts for me, I guess, is like the achiever types, like the perfection and like getting big results.
Mm-hmm.
What's been amazing for me is like when Tony says like the identity is the person's one thing they hold on to and won't let change, and our brain like doesn't like change because it's energy consuming process and it fights it. So those little steps during the last 3 years for me has been mind-blowing. Like the things Joseph teach us, like starting from the praise, you like trick your mind and your identity. They don't, like, your mind, your brain doesn't notice the change, but it happens like gradually, and it's so effortless when you do those little things consistently, like the praise, for example, or breaking that negative state pattern, like just getting up or going outdoors, moving. That's been a wow for me. So I absolutely recommend that part, to trick the brain and swim around the identity and like start noticing the change. When you go to the gym, you don't see the muscle immediately. So yeah, that first of all. And hard days will come, hard weeks will come, especially when you start the process of changing or of growing. And the key is be kind to yourself. And having a bad day or even a bad week doesn't mean you failed. It's that learning process. And those are the days, like some days you go and cheer on for you and play a little motivational talkers, speakers, and like go, yeah, I can do anything. But those hard days are the days where you go like, I got you, to yourself, and just be kind, because that day will pass and the next one might turn out to be freaking amazing. I've experienced that because I'm like, oh my God, this day, like everything has collapsed. I ruined everything. My world has collapsed. Like everything's over. And when you get there, that might last a week. But now it's like tiny bit. And I'm like, oh, whoa, you don't even know. Tomorrow could be a whole different world. And start with the kindness, accepting that. That's key. And of course, the mirror exercise. The mirror exercise.
A mirror exercise? What's that?
So if someone hasn't heard, you go in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eye, say the most important 4 words. Do you know what those are? I'm going to share. You say your name. So, Eveli, I love you. And you say that. I'm going to give, because I'm talking to the achievers, right? So I'm going to have to give the next step as well. What's been amazing for me, and this might bring tears. If the I love you didn't make you cry, I think this one will. Again, you go into front of the mirror, you look yourself in the eye, and you say, I'm going to say my name, Eveli, I'm proud of you for, and you say 7 things you're proud of yourself for. That's the first part. The second part, you look yourself in the eye and say, Eveli, I forgive you for. And you just let come out what comes out of you, what needs forgiveness in yourself to yourself. This might make you shed a tear of you, but for me, the last one is the one that makes me cry. So the third one is, Eveli, I promise you that, or your name then. Replace it. And I promise you that 7 things. And oh my God, when you start like promising, I promise to say no when I want to say no. I promise to say yes when I want to say yes. I promise to play and have fun with you. For me, like constantly working and saying to myself, I promise to have fun with you. I just bawled like ugly cried in front of that mirror like for 10 minutes. So, and when you do that for 30 days, I'm not going to say, do it and then get in touch with me and share what you experienced. Yeah.
Okay. Can we run through those again? Because I started writing them down. I realized after we were in, I was like, wait, what? So we start with I love yous, right? Yeah. Say your name, I love you. And what was the next one?
I'm proud of you for, and you name what comes out of you. 7 things you could be proud of, like learning to walk, doing that test really well in 5th grade, landing that love of your life. What comes to achieving that success that you were after? The tiniest or the biggest things that come to you that
Oh,
make you
that's great.
feel that pride. Yeah.
And then the next?
And the next is, I forgive you for example, I forgive you for not always being there for you. I forgive you for not listening to what you have going on inside. I forgive you for being unkind to yourself,
Mm,
for forcing too much, not letting you rest,
yeah.
all the mistakes,
Yeah.
and really forgive you yourself. So,
Oh,
and yeah,
and then the last one is the promises. I
and you
promise.
promise yourself, yeah, to
Mm,
always be there for you, to make your dreams come true, to have
mm.
fun with you, to love you.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is just amazing. Um, you know, I
that's life changing, and it
it
has been for many people. Yeah.
it really is. And you know, I love how you said, you know, being kind to yourself and forgiving yourself and loving yourself. We don't often do those things, right? And I think that when we don't identify the feelings that we're having, and we don't understand the impact that it's having on our entire body structure system,
Hmm.
all the way down to each individual cell, that is how powerful and important this is, because all of that gets pushed down into the entire body system, right? And so
Hmm.
we know we've had clients before that are talk about body aches and pains, right? Because that negativity will then get stuck in certain areas of our body, and we have to release that out. So
Hmm.
the importance of doing these mirror exercises is to really, one, rewire the brain, but to release that negative emotion and feelings and that past, and let that go. Let it go, right? I mean, Disney created that song, Let It Go. I mean,
Exactly.
I do that. I sing that to myself all the time in the car when I'm driving. Like, look at this crazy driver. That's out of my control. Let it go, man. Let it go. I can't do anything about that.
I do the same. I do the same.
That's great. I love it. See, look, and what are we doing right now, friends and family around the world? We are doing what? We're smiling and we're celebrating us, because why?
Hmm.
We have rewired our brain to get out of those negative patterns of behaviors and thoughts that we normally would be in.
Hmm.
So, listen, friends. Oh my gosh, I love this, and I I think we should give them, our listeners around the world, a challenge to do the mirror exercises, like you said, in those four things. I love you. I'm proud of you. I forgive you for. I promise you that. Do those four things, and then get back in touch with us to let us know how it worked for you, because we would love to
Hmm.
celebrate you and be in your corner to praise and celebrate you.
Yeah.
So, any final closing thoughts here that you have for our listeners around the world? Anything that you want to leave with them, besides the challenge and getting back in touch with us to let us know how it worked? Any final thoughts?
Um, your brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. Don't stop dreaming. We wouldn't have Disney, we wouldn't have all those inventions if those people wouldn't have those dreams in their mind already. So if you've forgotten how to dream, relearn. Dream, dream, dream. That's where everything begins. Thoughts are the Play Doh of the universe. So play.
Hmm, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Again, you guys can find us both on Instagram and Facebook and other platforms. Thank you so much for being here and
Thank
being
you.
a part of the show today. This was an absolute honor to have you here. And friends and family around the world, we hope that you enjoyed as this time with us as much as we did. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check it out at spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. From our hearts to yours, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.